Très heureux de vous retrouver sur ce plateau, sur le plateau de la Web TV du Africa CEO Forum. Une séquence particulièrement attendue. Qui sont les gagnants de cette belle soirée des Awards? On le sait maintenant, on a le plaisir de recevoir 3 d'entre eux. Alors, ils sont un petit peu fatigués, c'est normal, parce que c'était une belle cérémonie menée de main de maîtresse, devrais-je dire, par Rayana Assi, chroniqueuse à Live TV, présentatrice donc, de la cérémonie de Awards. Est-ce que ça va bien, Rayana?
Ça va super bien.
Comment s'est passée cette soirée, alors?
Je pense qu'elle s'est très très bien passée. On était tous contents. Je pense que tout le monde a bien mangé, sauf moi, déjà. Mais c'était une très belle cérémonie et je pense que tous ceux, justement, qui ont représenté les différents prix étaient à la hauteur. Je ne dis pas que les autres ont démérité, mais quand même, c'est bien de rehausser ceux qui ont gagné, quand même.
J'imagine. Alors, plus heureux que toi encore, most happy. The winner, actually. We are here with Fatuma Taba. You are the founder and president of Django. You are gender leader. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Your first impression with this prize for you yesterday. How you feel?
It was a fascinating experience. As you might know, Women in Africa has the highest total entrepreneurship activity rate. Yet we have a $42 billion funding gap, right? And some people like to believe that it's only an equality case, a moral case, but it's actually a business case. I was just making the case that if we bridge that equality gap, we'll generate 10% extra GDP. So it's massive. So it's really something I was proud. So I dedicate the award to my team and all the amazing female entrepreneurs we are backing.
I imagine that CEO of the Year, you know, big title for Delphine Traoré. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are the CEO of the Year. You are actually the Regional Chief Executive Officer of Alliance Africa. So we have this time yesterday, you opened the Web TV, we just have a talk, but you didn't imagine that you be the CEO of the Year. How you feel about this title?
It's very humbling. It's very humbling. I know we started the morning here. None of us thought that we would end the night this way, but it was a surprise. It was a shock. It's amazing how you do your work on a daily basis with your head down, and it's quite humbling to see that people notice the work that we do, especially as women. So it was an honor, and then, as I said, I was also accepting the awards on behalf of all the women.
We saw yesterday a lot of emotion.
Yes.
When you walked this stair and received this award.
Yes.
What is up in your mind at this moment?
You know, I didn't expect that I was going to win. So in my head, you know, okay, I've been nominated. That's great. It's already an honor. It's already an honor to be there. So I was quite relaxed, sitting at my table, getting ready,
chilling,
chilling and talking. And then when I heard my name, I'm like, I had a hard time getting up. So I said, wait a minute, did they just call my name? So then, you know, I had to go up there, but it was very chilling. The woman that won this a few years ago, from Morocco, our finance minister of Morocco right now, that won it a few years ago. But it's also a testament of the work that Alliance has been doing on the African continent for the past few years with various acquisitions, and we have a fantastic team around us. We are creating a $2 billion dollar company across Africa. So it's not just me, right? It's the whole team behind us that have really helped into at least showcasing the work that we do.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
The man of the year, actually, the corporation be rewarded by local impact champion, Mr. Zubairu. You are president and CEO of Africa Finance Corporation. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Is it a special meaning, this prize? Because it's a new one prize in this, it's not a competition, but this award, you know, the local impact champion. What does it mean for you?
Again, so thank you, like all of my colleagues. You know, I congratulate all of you for all the good work that you're doing. And you know, like, you know, yesterday it was really a surprise. You know, because I wasn't even prepared. You know, and being the first call even made it more surprising. I didn't even know what to do. I really didn't even know what to do because I didn't know what I was to call. You know, but I was going to walk up to the stage. You know, But I think the first thing is I want to say big thank you to my team. You know, and even the leaders that created AFC. You know, because speaking to the point she raised, finance is a big challenge, for Africa, and you continue to be a challenge for Africa, which is why I'm glad that Allianz got the award, because what they're trying to do is trying to create capacity, to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
So at the Africa Finance Corporation, we really focus on how can we provide solutions to Africa's infrastructure deficit and challenging operating environment. How can we build the infrastructure that will enable industrialization to take place? And how can we, do it in a way that we have more value capture and more value retention in Africa, and to be recognized for that, with this whole local content, champion, is very heartwarming, especially because I think that with what we're trying to do at the Africa CEO Forum, trying to see how we can move from 3,000 champions to 3,000 champions. Yes. I believe that it is in value capture and value retention in Africa that will make that journey. So for me, this is really amazing, and I thank the organizers for giving us the award. I thank my team, for putting up with me, and my and all the challenge that I give to them, and to see that we get rewarded for it is really very pleasing. And more important for me is how can we create more champions, and how can we, understand that it is the decisions that we take today that we're here that can create those champions, and what we do today, with our time as leaders of our organizations for our continent is so important, because really Africa is the future, but that future, has to be defined by us.
Yeah.
And it is our responsibility to define that future. So more important is the conversations that we're having about the future. So this morning we had a conversation on African voluntary carbon markets. We think that that's $1 trillion market for Africa, and we need insurance for it. Yeah. So we need entrepreneurship for it.
We can sign a deal, guys. We're not ready for that.
We need entrepreneurship for it. So we need all of us, working together to make it happen.
The question is, for three of you, how do you plan to leverage this recognition to further expand and your business in Africa? You're gonna put now I'm a CEO of the year on your business card. You put a mention like this for two.
Well, for you. So first of all, one of the big takeaways for me, I arrived at this forum with the thesis that technology can help leapfrog development in Africa, and this is really something that is quite dear to my heart still. But I also will leave this forum with the understanding that private sector development will leapfrog development in Africa, and it will happen around this table. So the first takeaway from really this event is looking forward to partner more. We were just saying with Soumaila, we've met maybe countless times. We met here at Africa CEO Forum last year. We met in September in New York. We met in Davos in January, and we are meeting here again. And I think forging this type of partnerships will be, I think, helping us to, you're creating a platform to help us achieve more, because that's the way we get concretely from 300 to 3,000. We don't want it to be another pledge. We need to deliver. It's actually a call to action. And then maybe leveraging, I think, as a matter of pride to my team and the amazing portfolio companies we're backing. Because again, they're doing fantastic work. In fact, most of my most successful companies, like, there is one, for instance, that started in Nigeria. It's like transacting more than $1 billion. It just raised $38 million, Series B, led by a commercial German bank.
Wow. And
no one knows her. And usually people feel, okay, Fatoumata backed her because she's female. I backed her because she's a rock star. And you'll hear about her when she'll be IPOing, and maybe with the support of some African champions around this table. And that's really what the award stands for. I think the recognition for really the work we are doing, and the pride, the sense of pride for our teams.
Sure. And what about you? How do you plan?
I will be using this award everywhere I go, because I've been coming to the Africa CEO from day one.
Oh yeah.
Right. The first time I went, I think it was in 2012, 2013 in Geneva.
Yes, in Geneva, absolutely.
And there was maybe 400 people there.
Yes.
Today we have 2,000 people.
2,000 exactly.
So to be awarded this award, it says a lot about how important Allianz Africa is for the Allianz Group, right? So anytime there's a doubt about an international player investing on the African continent, I think this is going to be a reminder every time there's a doubt. So yes, I will be using this award everywhere I go. I will remind people what happened, and I will remind them this is where we can get to as women, right? So yes, I'll probably put a name.
Je reviens avec toi rapidement. Cette soirée, quels ont été un petit peu les temps forts? Ça a commencé avec un spectacle très vivant de Georges Monbiot.
Oui.
Talking about, you know, the events and how the key point and
Déjà, moi, quand j'ai fait toutes ces préparations, quand j'ai vu ce qui s'apprêtait, quand je suis arrivée sur la scène, j'ai dit à tout le monde, écoutez, mieux vaut vous asseoir parce que vous ne savez pas d'où ça peut venir. Donc on a vu le Monbiot arriver de partout comme ça, c'était magnifique. Mais pour moi, franchement, les temps forts, c'était les émotions sur les visages, non pas seulement des nominés, même quand on disait leur nom dans la salle, mais surtout des lauréats. Franchement, c'était magnifique à voir. On sentait que c'était une vraie reconnaissance. C'était la reconnaissance d'un travail qui avait été fait avec engagement pour l'Afrique. Et je pense que c'était les meilleurs moments de cette soirée.
The best time of these awards, you know, the face, you know, with the winners actually. I would like to know a little bit about the key factor to contribute to your success in the Africa. Can you give some insight into the strategy to build? Today you are the winner, but sure you build a strategy because you build an idea to succeed in your business, in your market, especially in Africa.
Thank you very much for that. You know, again, for us, you know, is how can we make the best use of our time today for future generations of Africans? What can we do today that will make a change? You know, I mentioned it yesterday that for 2 centuries we've been doing the same thing, you know, with very dismal results. So anytime commodity prices go up, we get some money, we do well, you know, and anytime there's volatility in the commodity prices, we have the same challenge of devaluation, you know, high interest rates, unemployment, you know, and we're back the same cycle. And why is that the case? Because we are focusing on just exporting raw materials. You know, we're focusing on just, you know, the things that were done when we were colonized. You know, the same business model of colonization is what we are still implementing.
Sure.
You know, and we have seen that if we can go up the value chain, have more value capture, more value retention in Africa, you know, we can make a difference. So we have invested through the African Champion, Arise. You know, it's one of our favorite companies. You know, we are actually over 70% shareholder in that business. And like you mentioned yesterday, we started from them from the very beginning, you know, with the whole idea of transformation. You know, and that's the idea and the strategy is around transformation. You know, how can we get more value capture in Africa and we'll have more value retained in Africa? So there we're working on a couple of projects. So we work with them in Gabon, you know, to move from exporting raw logs of wood to veneer, plywood, and furniture. In fact, we actually now have a furniture showroom in Florida where we're selling furniture made from Gabon out of Florida. You know, we're working now in Benin Republic to move from cotton to T-shirts and towels. Again, basic stuff, nothing too fancy, just T-shirts and towels. And we're able to transform from exports of, let's say, $2 billion to $38 billion. You know, see the value change. You know, and we think that that can be replicated across several other industries. Yesterday we had the Prime Minister saying that if they move from cocoa beans to intermediate products, their GDP will increase by 75%. So the strategy is how can we as Africans get the conviction that we must take ownership of our development. And our development is in value addition on the continent for Africans. Because it's when we create value that we create jobs. And once we create those jobs, financial institutions have more bandwidth and they have more to do. So from insuring $2 billion, should be insuring $2 trillion. Yeah.
Possible. Question for you. You are the winner. We're talking about your business also. Can you share with us your strategy or the insight to give some examples?
You know, I think there are two things that we really stand for. And I do believe that yesterday was also a celebration of both, right? One is excellence and two is impact. And I believe yesterday was really a celebration of African leadership excellence and women leadership excellence as well. And that's why we are here, right? So, and I think it's so important to show that we have all these champions, that they are doing extremely well, that Africa is open for business. For instance, there are so many people, international investors, that do not know that we have the lowest default rate on infrastructure project globally. Usually they come with that fear of risk, and they don't see the size of the opportunity or the different ways to mitigate the risk. And for us, really, when we launched our first fund 5 years ago, and now we're at our second fund, we felt that we had to be one of the best, right? Because if we had to come with an impact strategy, which is really our purpose, and I will come to that in a minute, people will feel, oh, that doesn't work. So maybe profit and purpose now are mutually exclusive. They are not, right? And then the second thing is really impact. We are here, and I think we are proud to be here because we wake up every morning knowing that we are making a difference in our continent. I left an extremely high-paying job in consulting to become an entrepreneur, and then I left, before the IPO, an extremely successful co-founding job, lots of actions to become an investor. And the reason why my call to action was that I was looking at these numbers of high youth unemployment. Now, there is no way we will be creating with just business as usual this number of jobs. So we need to increase the number of entrepreneurs. But VC in Africa is only 1% of the global VC funding. And you don't have enough of, like in the Silicon Valley, successful tech entrepreneurs that are now creating the beginning of the value chain. And in Africa, we have a very mature PE ecosystem. We have infrastructure investors. We have financial investors. We don't have enough VC investors. And I was like, enough pledges. Take the lead. And I seeded my first fund myself. It was a business angel, then raised fund with commercial investors, now raising fund with institutional investors. Wow. But it's a drop in the ocean, and we need to accelerate and massify that very, very, very much. So I think whenever you come with excellence in mind and strive for impact, that's the outcome. That's what you get.
Have excellence in mind and the vision also. You received this actually a personal victory, a personal award. You're talking about the team building. Do you have this vision also to push your work as a female leader, but as a leader CEO, and the strategy to be up the frontier of your area, meaning the Africa, to represent something sustainable?
So I'll answer in two ways. So there's the first one on leadership in general and women leadership, which I've shared before as well. We need to start building this pipeline of women leaders. And it starts at home. Then it's at university. Then it's first day on the job. You need to make sure that these women are seeing the potential that they have and that they can do it. When I take it back from an insurance or at least a business perspective, insurance penetration, so insurance to GDP in Africa is about 1%. In the rest of the world, we're talking 7%, 14%, right? So how do you then develop a sustainable economy in a country where there's no plan B when catastrophe happens? We see the large investment that you're doing on infrastructure, on Arise, etc. What happens to this investment if a bridge collapses, or if they are sending the products that doesn't get there, or if they don't get paid back from? So there's various ways that I think it's going to be important for us to increase insurance penetration, make insurance more available, more affordable, and products that are working for Africa. We do a lot when it comes to also micro insurance. So we don't just insure large infrastructure projects and planes and large companies, but we also need to make sure that we're ensuring the small farm owners. We talk about climate change. We talk about droughts. These young or women, men, small farm owners are investing a lot into grain. They will, have a big land and they're expecting the harvest will be great. And then we have a drought, and then they finish the year with absolutely nothing. This is what the insurance companies as a whole comes to play. I like what the CEO of EcoBank, Jeremy, said earlier today. We don't have to compete with each other, especially in the financial sector. We need to increase the availability of financial products just to make sure that the rest of the continent is benefiting from it.
Yeah. Yes, if you would like to add something, you have to react to this really interesting point.
I'll be calling him.
I mean, she's just so apt, you know, the need for us to collaborate, you know, and just the point that have been raised, you know, the big challenge for Africa is access to finance. Yep. You know, so we, in the conversation this morning and earlier conversations, people talk about, you know, the absence of opportunities. But I say that's not true. You know, so we exist, you know, to create those opportunities. You know, when we were created to address Africa's infrastructure deficit and challenging operating environment, we felt that we're new players and that, you know, people are used to IFC, AFDB, you know, European Investment Bank and all of these institutions. So nobody's going to come to us. So, and we also know that the big challenge is that you have this huge need of, at that time, $30 billion of investment. Now it's $200 billion of investment, but there are no projects. So what we said to ourselves was that, look, we understand all the reasons why things don't get done in Africa. We have to find the reasons for things to get done, to be done in Africa. And how do we do that? We work with governments, we work with sponsors to move from idea to a bankable project by spending our own money to de-risk the opportunity. That way we have a project that we can invest and we can have partners to invest. You know, so that is really the approach that we have taken. And we have been doing that for so long that we have a huge pipeline of projects now, over $2 billion of projects. So even the businesses that we promote, you know, they have pipeline of billions of dollars. You know, so the pipeline is there. What is missing is the capital. You know, and what we are trying to do, you know, I was in a conversation recently, you know, in London about delivering global net zero, you know, and we're talking about moving from, you know, how to get the trillions of dollars to work. And I said to them, you know, I don't even know how to react anymore to these pledges, you know, of huge monies of money, because it's just not true. Right. You know, it's just not happening. You know, we look at countries like South Africa, you know, at the COP26, you know, with the pledge, you know, for JETP. Has any dollar flowed into South Africa? None. You know, we hear all this pledge. And I said to them, we are doing by ourselves, you know, renewable energy projects. We're doing by ourselves carbon-free industrial zones, by ourselves, you know, with no help. You know, okay, yes, we get some help, definitely. So, for example, we're talking about USDFC. They gave us $250 million, yes. But we need more from them. You know, and I said to the room there,
look this
you
camera
you have no allocation for Africa. None. Give us 0.1% equity allocation, not 1%, 0.1%. 0.1% of losses in any financial institution is excellent, but then you're not going to give it to us as grant. You work with institutions like ourselves and several other African institutions for us to make investments, and you will see that we would deliver the returns. So what we really want, which is the reason why we have to collaborate, is that we need more financial resources flowing into Africa. A lot of the things that we want to do can't get done without finance, you know, and we need to elevate the conversation, you know. So you use your CEO award to everywhere you go to, let them know that we need financial flows into Africa. And these financial flows has to start from Africans themselves. We Africans have to fund African institutions. You know, we must first take ownership and leadership of this situation, and then the world will follow us. So if AFC did not exist, several things would not happen. Right. You know, so we need more AFCs, we need AFCs to have bigger capacity, and we need African governments to understand that it is their support for institutions like us that will deliver the growth that we need in Africa.
Wow. The message is launched, it's quite clear, and I like this dynamic of collaboration too, meaning bring more money in the business in this continent. And also they have another word used by not competition but co-opetition. We have to co-opete to succeed and to succeed together. Also, what is really interesting with the Africa CEO Forum, you have different people for different areas, but different generation also. Ta première participation au Africa CEO Forum, félicitations pour ces awards que tu as animés. J'ai eu l'occasion de les présenter aussi quelques années. C'est toujours un challenge.
Ouais.
Ta vision à toi, parce qu'on est sur le net, on est sur le digital, de rencontrer les CEO, d'être en contact avec toi, avec tout ce monde-là, qu'est-ce que ça t'inspire? Comment tu le vis personnellement?
Ça m'inspire énormément parce que, et je pense que c'est l'occasion de remercier toute l'organisation de ce sommet qui met finalement en lumière l'existence sur le continent africain d'un réel écosystème qui va au-delà de la simple recherche du gain financier. Mais on se rend compte aujourd'hui qu'on a des CEO qui sont engagés, qui comprennent les réalités et les problématiques profonde du continent et qui recherchent des solutions. Et je pense que c'est ce qui fait avancer l'Afrique finalement. Et moi, c'est vraiment avec ce ressentiment que je repars. Et quand je regarde les parcours, parce que j'ai fait quelques recherches derrière, quand je regarde les parcours des différents j'ai envie de dire, lauréats, je me dis, on a là des valeurs en fait finalement qui font les vrais CEO. Et ce n'est pas seulement les CEO qu'on entend I'm the CEO of, I'm the CEO of. Non, c'est de vrais parcours, c'est de vrais engagements de vie pour l'Afrique. Et je pense que c'est ce qu'il faut saluer.
Ah, bravo, effectivement, the value of the CEOs is so important. Merci beaucoup, Rayana Assi, qui a été l'animatrice de ces cérémonies des Awards. Vous êtes chroniqueuse à Live TV. Bienvenue dans la famille. Très heureux de te retrouver. J'ai envie de la tutoyer parce que l'on se connaît au-delà de nos différents rôles. Fatoumata Ba, toujours impliquée, active. Vous tournez la tête à droite, vous la voyez, vous tournez la tête à gauche, vous la voyez sur différentes plateformes. Donc, présidente et fondatrice de Django. Thank you so much, Mr. Zubariou. You back to Lagos, to Abuja with this prize. Congratulations. Local Impact Champion. You are President and CEO of Africa Finance Corporation. Et Delphine Traoré, bravo, CEO of the Year. Wow. You are the original Chief Executive Officer of Alliance Africa. C'était un plaisir de vivre cette séquence des Awards. Un retour, vous allez revoir ces images certainement. Continuez à nous suivre donc sur la Web TV du Africa CEO Forum en utilisant le hashtag ACF2023 justement. Taguez, likez, allez les rechercher sur les LinkedIn de ce monde-là. Vous aurez l'occasion de pouvoir suivre leur parcours. Bravo encore à eux. Et on se retrouve pour la deuxième partie de notre journée, toujours dans le cadre de cette édition du Africa CEO Forum. À tout de suite.